Hey everybody, Tom Olson here, and we are back yet again for day number 12 of the 30 Days to Good Success journey. I hope you guys have been working hard on this. I know I worked hard to get this thing ready for you guys, but if you guys have not already gotten your book, you guys can order this on Amazon, but you can also go to our website and get a discount if you buy it from us on our website. But the 30 Days to Good Success is a book that I have written to be able to mentor students of mine, but also be able to help other mentors mentor their students. Because what I found is that so many times people come to you with issues and problems, and you don't really know enough about the rest of the story to give them sound advice. And I see so many people try to give flippant advice, and they don't really think about what is really going on here. They're not really paying attention to what's going on in somebody's life. And I think getting to know somebody and you knowing yourself enough and being honest with yourself enough to be able to actually write down the answers to these questions, I think can be a game changer and can be life changing. I've sent this to mentors of mine, and they have said, wow, I've never thought about that. And these questions that you ask are questions that we should ask ourselves over and over and over and over again. I even have, a guy who wrote and said, wow, very excellent about this next chapter. This next chapter I'm really excited about. It actually comes from two different books that I've read. And like I've said many times before, all leaders, I should say, are readers. Not all necessarily all readers are leaders, but all leaders are readers. And the reason why is because you're doing the number one thing, you're leading yourself. And if you can't lead yourself very well, if you're not disciplined enough to be able to read and to be able to finish a book, or to be able to actually be disciplined to read or work out or whatever the case is to lead yourself, you're not really disciplined in order to be able to lead other people. And other people pay attention. They notice when you're reading. They can tell if you've learned something new or if you're just regurgitating the same thing that you've said over and over and over again. Sometimes repetition is a key, and I think that is important, but being disciplined about it is also probably way more important. But learning new stuff and always maybe learning it from a different angle, I think is very important. And I've read I've read 5 books with the exact same name. And 2 of the books mention what we're going to talk about today in chapter number 12. So chapter number 12, what are your roles and your responsibilities in your business? So you might think about this in business. In businesses, you have org charts or you have accountability charts, and you have, this pyramid, and you have these people up there where maybe somebody's the CEO at the top, and you have a leadership team, and then each person might have a couple people underneath them. You might have supervisors that have other people, and they all have to be held accountable to that person on top of them. We teach that you're supposed to have every one of those people that have people underneath them have to lead them. They have to manage them. They have to hold them accountable. They have to ask the questions, why isn't this done? And what are you doing to make sure that it does get done? If we're not hitting our goals, why aren't we hitting our goals? What do we need to do to be able to reach those goals? However, before we even get started with what you have to do to have that, if you have that role and responsibility, it's very important to be honest with yourself about all of the roles and responsibilities that you have in your life. And I did this myself several years ago. And when I did this was probably, me and my wife actually both did this. I can remember on a plane to Hawaii from California, San Diego, and it was like a light bulb went out. And I promise you, this can be a light bulb type chapter. This chapter changed my life, and I can tell you it will change yours if you'll let it. So the name of the book is called What Matters Most, and there's 2 different people that wrote. There's actually 5 different people that I've actually found that have written a book called What Matters Most. But the 2 that I'm referencing today are from Hyrum Smith, and also from, what is her name? Karen Emmon. So those 2 people both wrote different books from different eras, different times. I think they're written 30 or 40 years apart from each other. And I don't know if one copied the other. I'm sure everything's kind of been copied from some person at some, point in time. But basically, not word for word, but pretty much had the same thought and the same context, is that in your business, you have roles and responsibilities. And it doesn't matter where you go, you're always, every single mentor and every single coach and every single person that's coaching and teaching on business, this is a very vital, important, key part of any business, is to have roles and responsibilities clearly laid out. Also, having the leader who is in charge of who. If you don't have that, you will have chaos in your life. There has to be a priority. So the owner of a company has to be able to go to, number one, the CEO, that top person, whoever that top dog is, whoever that integrator, whatever you want to call that person, head of operations, whoever is that number one right-hand man, that's the person that is held responsible for the entire, and they have the pecking order. They are the top. You have to have a priority in who that person is. But just as you have to have that in business, you also have to have this in your own personal life. So I ask you, what are your roles and responsibilities? So I want you to right now, before we even go any farther in this chapter, I want you to stop and I want you to write down on a piece of paper and actually, or you could just go to page 76 right here in this first column. And I want you to write down what are your roles and your responsibilities. And I want you to think about this. Most people have way more roles and they carry way more positions and way more responsibilities than they probably can actually take care of. And I've had many people, we get to this part, this chapter, and I may be talking to them, and this is where they want to give up. This is the hard truth. This is the game changer. This is where you realize, oh my word, I have a lot of people that are looking up to me. I have a lot of people that I lead, and I have been put in a lot of different positions that I got to make sure I take care of my responsibilities in that role that I've been given. And I ask you, do these roles and responsibilities that you have two different types of roles and responsibilities, some that are God-given, some that nobody else can take care of but you. If you have a child, nobody else can be a parent to that child. You need to stand up and help you can't get out of that one. But there's other roles, there's other responsibilities that you put on yourself that you don't have to necessarily give out. There's been many things in my life where I've been in charge of different things and I've had to step down away from those responsibilities because I have had to prioritize my roles and responsibilities. So I want you to write down on a list, piece of paper. I want you to think about all the things and all the ways that, all the positions that you hold. So for me, I'm a Christian. For me, I'm a husband. I am a father. I'm a business owner. And I also, even in my own business, I am a business owner of 7 different businesses. So I have to put, in my opinion, I put a different role for each one of those business owners. I sit in seats in some of my businesses. So I put my seat. So I when I did this myself, I had about 35 different roles, different seats that I was sitting in. Okay? So, and I want you to do this first of all and foremost for your whole life, not just in your business. After you do this for your whole life, I want you to go back and do this in your business as well. But first of all, I want you to write down, make a list of all those things. Just stop and think about it. Okay, so which things, which people are looking up to me, who's relying on me, and what roles and responsibilities. Maybe you're a brother or a sister. All those are roles and responsibilities. Maybe you're a pastor or a Sunday school teacher, or maybe you work for a nonprofit or whatever the case is. Maybe you're a CEO of a company. Maybe you're a salesperson. All those are roles and responsibilities. This is very important. Figure out what those are. So write those down. That's the first part of this. The second part of this is very important. Trust me. The last thing I don't want you to get discouraged. So I do want you to think that there's hope. Just know that when I did this personally, and I found out that sometimes the best way to give people encouragement is to let them know that you've gone through the same thing they're going through, right? So I went through this with you several years ago. And when I did this, I was like, oh my word, I have got to make some changes. Because there wasn't enough time in the day to be able to accurately and honestly give the attention that I needed to all of these roles and responsibilities. And some of these responsibilities were very important to me. And I said they were very important, but I really wasn't giving the time and attention to these roles and responsibilities that I needed to be able to give to them. So the first part of this is writing them all down. And then the second part of this, okay, is to, what is your commitment for these roles and responsibilities? What would it really take? If you were to hire somebody to be that person, what would it really take in order to, maybe that's time, maybe that's a talent, maybe that's a network, maybe that's whatever it is. I'm not sure, but whatever your commitment to that would be, I think time is a big part of that, with a capacity issue. But time, and then what does it really take in order to be able to fulfill those positions properly? Okay, that's the next step. And then the third step, which I think will help you in your purpose. So I want you to think purpose driven here. And if I'm going to be a purpose driven entrepreneur, if I'm going to live life on purpose, for a purpose, you've got to be purposeful about this. So that's the next part in this. So the next part in this is to go through every single one of those roles and responsibilities and rank them. So for me, I have had to clearly identify, hey, if I say that my number one most important responsibility is me as a Christian, how much time am I really spending being a Christian? If my number two of anything in my life is a role and responsibility is being a spouse, being a husband to my wife, then I need to make sure that I know what it takes to be a good spouse. Number three for me is a father. That is my third most important responsibility in my life. And you might put that as number one. I'm not going to fault you. Just for me, I believe that God comes first, my wife comes second, and my kids come third. And my kids even know this. I tell them that. And then after that might be I'm a business owner. And I even have had to go through and rank those different roles in the different businesses that I run, and making sure that I can try to get, and there's some things that I'm still there. I'm still struggling myself to try to make sure that I'm giving each one of those roles and responsibilities the attention and the capacity and the time that each one of those responsibilities need. But I also think I have to go back to chapter number 1, and I have to ask myself, hey, is this helping me reach my purpose? Which one of these roles and responsibilities may I be willing to give up, or may I be willing to say no to, so that way I can better fulfill my potential and my purpose for the reason why I was born and the reason why I was created. So, number 1, roles and responsibilities. Number 2, what is your commitment for those? What's required to be able to fulfill those responsibilities? And then number 3, rank those. This is a forced ranking. You have to go through number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, all the way down. If you've got 30 on there, I want you to have 30 ranks. Number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. I want you to have all those all the way down. And just take some time to ponder and think about what you've just done. This may be a hard soul searching to really prioritize. Prioritization is purposeful. Think about that. So if the whole purpose of Good Success is to help you live a more purpose-driven life and to live life on purpose, for purpose, there's not much more you can do that's going to be more purpose-driven than what you're going to do today on day number 12 of the 30 days to good success. So again, roles and responsibilities, prioritize them. What's the commitment really needed for them? And then do some soul searching. After that, what are the things that you can say no to? What are the things that you need to add more time to? If you really say that one is more important than the other, where does your remember I told you I can tell you what your priorities are by 2 things, your schedule and your checkbook. So asking yourself those questions again during this chapter, I think, is very important. Am I spending enough time in these different roles and responsibilities because of the way I prioritize them, because of my purpose? I think if you think about it in that context, I think that you'll be blessed and you'll be helped today. So I can't wait to see you back here for chapter number 13, question number 13 of the 30 days to good success. But I hope today is a game changer for many of you out there. I love to hear your stories and love to be able to help you through your journey to have good success. Have a good day.